greatest in the world of sports. This is Chalk Them Up.
Are the Bears going to cut Chester Taylor?
No, I don't believe that's going to happen. I'm not exactly sure where that report originated from. I can understand that people who look at Chester Taylor's numbers, and I believe he only averaged about 2.4 yards per carry, so clearly his numbers will tell you he didn't have a real successful first season in Chicago, but he made all of his money essentially in year one. He made over $7 million last year. He's on the books for roughly $1.25 million this year. So if you're the Bears, you want to get a little more of a return on your investment, and since you already paid out your big money to Chester Taylor, it doesn't make a lot of sense trying to cut him or wanting to get rid of him, after only one season.
Once again, you're listening to Chalk Them Up on WPGU 107.1. We're joined by ESPN Chicago beat writer for the Bears, Jeff Dickerson.
Jeff, there's a lot of restricted and unrestricted free agents we see on this Bears roster from this year. Just give us an idea of who do you think is going to stay in a Bears uniform next year and who we will not see next year for Chicago?
Well, I think number one, in terms of guys who are unrestricted, I really think they should bring back Olin Cruz. Bringing Brad Maynard back is something the Bears have talked about. You got to do something with Pisatino Samoa or Nick Roach. Anthony Adams is a nice defensive tackle. I like him maybe as that third defensive tackle in a rotation. Probably will try to do something to bring him back. And as far as guys who are going to leave, one of those strong side linebackers probably goes. I think Daniel Manning likely makes a lot more money on the open market. The Bears have Major Wright. Perfect situation for them would be to have Major Wright be their free safety next year. Let Chris Harris slide down into the box and play more strong safety. I personally like Daniel Manning an awful lot, but my guess is teams out there that need safety help will pay more money for Daniel Manning than the Bears are willing to spend to keep him here.
And assuming that there is a deal that it gets signed, so there will be an NFL season next year, do you think that, other than bringing guys back, the Bears are going to be aggressive in their pursuit of maybe bringing in some help on the offensive end? Do you think that this is the year that the Bears front office finally acknowledges that they need a big threat wide receiver who can go over the middle? Or are they going to just settle on Devin Aroshmadu again throughout training camp and then, never play him?
Yeah, well, I can guarantee you Devin Aroshmadu won't be here next year. There's no way that's going to happen. He's gone. But they need help on offense. They need a wide receiver. I don't know how much of their resources in the offseason they're going to allocate to finding that wide receiver. I think if you were to ask the Bears to a man privately, their most important priority on the offensive side is to get the line right. And there's a lot of things that have to go right with that offensive line. I mean, if you bring Kreutz back, that's great. You've got Garza as a pretty decent right guard. They're high on Jamarcus Webb, but, I thought Jamarcus Webb was just kind of average. He was pressed into duty. But you have to figure one of those offensive line, one of those tackle spots probably is going to be earmarked for Jamarcus Webb. But then what do? Frank Omiel, I want to say, gave up the most sacks of any tackle in the NFL last year. Do you bring him back? Chris Williams is not a guard. I'll tell you that right now. Now, people say he's a decent tackle. I've never been knocked out with him in a tackle either. So you have to do something with the line. You have to probably get a guard, maybe draft a tackle. I think those are two bigger priorities for the Bears than finding that wide receiver, although I do think they need one. But you hear names like Sidney Rice. I just don't know if the Bears are going to spend that type of money on a wideout. They got burned doing it once with Muhsin Muhammad, and ever since then, Jerry Angelo has been very hesitant to give big money to wide receivers, especially those guys who are over 30 years old. So interesting to see what the McCaskey family gives the Bears the green light to do.